Olá, Campus Party Portugal. Eu estava aqui vendo a palestra ali no Joy of Life, na verdade um bate-papo do Moacir com o Ramiro, e eu dei muita risada com o Ramiro, que o Ramiro deu uma provocada no Moacir e falou: Moacir, quando eu for ao Brasil precisamos dar uma corridinha, hein? Moacir, bota essa consciência no lugar, vai dar uma corridinha com o Ramiro. E agora a gente tem outros palcos aqui se iniciando. Na Campus Party Portugal, já estamos chegando aqui próximo das 7 horas da noite aqui em Portugal, e nos próximos palcos agora a gente tem o Bruno Macedo, Fintech Technology Executive. Temos também a Maria João Nogueira, ela é blogueira e ativista em temas de liberdade civis. Olha que interessante, Maria João, vou ficar de olho no seu palco. E temos também a Ana Silveira, que é designer e social media manager. Quase me atropelei aqui. Designer e social media manager.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Bruno Macedo, and today I'm going to bring you Phygital, the new reality for consumer experience in the fintech industry. Really excited to be here. Talking about fintech is something that really is exciting, especially in the latest years. And every time we have the opportunity to talk about it, it's great. If it was like 10 years ago to talk about banking or technology about banks at the school or at an event, probably wouldn't get the same impact as these days. So let's not wait no more. So a little bit about me. I'm like to consider myself a little bit an outside of the box thinker, which means I'm a speaker, I'm an advisor, I lecture, and also I've been in some activities, entrepreneurship activities, and have the opportunity to follow this amazing industry and the revolution that we've been witnessing. So the world has changed, and so have we. What does that mean? Well, navigating in calm, known weather could be something that we can do with planning and time and planned sight. Banking and the finance industry was more or less something like that a couple of years ago. Things would still be complex, but would take their own time. With the financial crisis and what happened afterward with the fintech revolution, we had a change, not only in consumer behavior and business models, but in the whole society and paradigm. And that means trying to navigate into an unpredictable weather. We weren't ready for it, the industry was not ready for it. And to be able to cope with it, we had, and the industry had, to find the right instrument, the right bearings, time and actions, and especially adapt. So we got what I like to call the perfect storm. We had internal departments of the banks being split up into completely new industries. It was from payments that became fintech, risk management that became risk tech, insure tech, etc., etc. A whole set of industries out of what used to be internal departments of the banks as a result of that consumer behavior, of that world change. It was the perfect storm, and we counted around 12,000, probably more, fintechs out there in a couple of years. Not to help, now we had the pandemic, which actually pushed in let's call it a tornado into that storm that already disrupted industry with an economic crisis, with ecosystem vulnerabilities, with the fact that you need to work remotely. And you can imagine that it actually added to the whole approach a completely new pressure to the whole system, and also change the consumer behavior around it. And let me get to the consumers in a sec. Just want to show you a little bit the whole panorama behind the fintech and banking industries that got the challenges. So if in the last 10 years we were telling banks and fintechs, hey, you need to go digital, you need to approach things in a more digital way, and you need to start looking more at digitization. In the last 2 years, and things got completely insane. Consumers have been pampered and good, and that's good, by the big techs, and they got used to the technology to know them, and they felt comfortable with that, with the Amazons, the Facebooks, the Apples, and financials. So if that was for the last 2 years already, pressure. With the pandemic, we got the digitization pressure to go insanely bigger. So what we were still planning for a couple of years now has to be done, and it's being done in months. A couple of statistics. It's well, I always like to not extend too much on statistics. I think you all know, but just to give you a hint, pretty much consumers still like to visit their local branch, at least occasionally. Millennials say that they would consider banking with Google, Apple, and others. They will also buy insurance from big techs, and they look at big techs for investment advice. And that's really important because basically they're telling us that they want simplicity, convenience. They don't want traction, and they want output and results from from their apps, from the money that they're paying for, in a personalized service, but now from an industry that didn't used to be seen as that. And that's interesting. It's kind of like thinking as banking as Instagram, instant, reactive, to know me, and I want results at the moment. So I think fintechs and banking in itself has actually been holding up the storm quite well, for a fact. And the road was starting from digitization and betting on cognition, and we'll get to that in a second, to go beyond the mere digitization process. So there was a journey. We started from physical to digital, and from digital to what we call now Phygital. My colleagues, my professional colleagues over at marketing, they've been looking at the concept a little bit sooner than we have around fintech. And I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to try to keep it more in the fintech industry and more into the practicality of what I see in the industry. So what is Phygital? It's a combination of digital and physical. I'm a consumer, and if I go to a branch, I like that human interaction, my advisor to tell me and to advise me on what I buy and what should I do with my investment, with my mortgage. But if I have an app, normally the apps don't act that way. The app will start asking me the typical questions, asking me the typical stuff as if the app didn't know me. It keeps trying to know me first before giving me advice. And Phygital is actually that magic that needs to happen across those channels between the physical and the digital channel, with some cognition, with the fact that the bank knows me. So what's the journey so far? Well, we started by going to the bank a couple of years ago, and there was only one sales channel, and that was the physical. Then banks invested with the whole online banking and the whole mobile into different channels, but well, they are not quite well integrated. There were some things that you could get in one, there were some other things that you get in another. If it was really serious and you needed that advice, you would just pick up your car or walk down to the branch to get that advice. And now what we're trying to get is the same banking experience anywhere. So if I open an app, the app will know me, will not ask me strange things that they should know, and kind of like get that holistic view for the customer. And it doesn't matter the channel that I use, can be a smartwatch, can be a mobile, can be a video conferencing, it has to have the same impact. Why go for it? Well, for the fintechs and from organizations in general, but especially for fintechs and banks, what we've seen, and I don't want to go too technical, just to give you a hint on this chart, is that currently most of the firms have a relative cost position that they're exploring, and there's value to the customer that so far they keep to expand a little bit too much, that they need to get some value to the customer, because things are not optimized. You have to invest online, and then you have to invest in the branch, and then you have to invest in the app for the Apple Watch, for example. And what the Phygital leap brings is kind of expanding that frontier that exists today, and still move it into a low cost position, but with a high value for the customer. That improves the risk profile, so less risk for the bank and better for the client, a lower cost income ratio, and an increased market share for the companies that do that. And you probably noticed the neobanks, the digital banks, the Revoluts, the Hello banks, the Virgin Money, the banks that get to that more phygital approach, you actually kind of have the tendency to feel that they're performing better. So how to go for it? Well, generically, you need to get a cognitive approach. You need to know your client. Doesn't matter how you do it, doesn't matter how you approach it. Your client needs to feel that you know him. And that means the app or the advisor need to act in a seamless way. You get that by a cognitive response, integrated omnichannel experience without losing proximity and advice. I'll get to that in a couple of slides, but you have to practice that phygital journey, not just the digital or physical one. You need to bet on data, and it's interesting because although data has been in privacy around data has been these days addressed a lot, that's actually the answer to get this better experience for the customer. You need to actually bet on the data as being the key, and you need to change your processes to get in that way. And of course, adaptive systems. You have the cloud, you have this all amazingly processing capacity that you can actually create your systems and your processes to respond to each situation and to be smart and to adapt to the next interaction with the user and client. You need to truly integrate the digital journeys or the phygital journeys. And this is all powered by technology. And that's why I tell you, it's really amazing. I'm a technology person, and it's an incredible universe. I could stay hours here talking about this. Of course, I don't have it. But you can take a look at this chart, for example. You can go 1,000 ways to approach and to get your view from the consumer, to create that cognitive view and to try to get the best answers for him, that you know him, that you engage with him, that you hear it, that you empower the customer. And last but not least, you actually provide satisfaction in the processes and methods that you drive to the consumer, and he feels that it doesn't matter if he goes to the branch or if he uses the app. He has a great relationship with the bank or institution. But it's hard to do it alone. We've been pushing for the power of ecosystems. Fintech ecosystems and open banking combined. For those that you know what it is, the use of APIs, the fact that you can connect to other companies and other industries to provide a better service, actually have amazing results. You can't be the best at all, and you are competing as a bank and fintech with these big, huge tech firms like Google, Apple, or Facebook. They have an immense power. They've been doing this for a while, but banks have the banking knowledge, so they have some advantage there. They just need to create the technology advance that they need, and to achieve that holistic view, they need to actually connect to great partners and to create that, because you can't be the best of all, but you can connect to the best in the market to achieve so. And so, what are the physical results online and at the branch, whatever the branch now is? Well, online you get an integrated omnichannel experience. I get my app, I ask for a mortgage, or I ask for an advice, and the app actually knows me. It doesn't going to ask for my payslip. It knows me, and it just tells me what's the best for my baby, and when should I do that, and how should I invest, and how much. That's what you want, and that again is the key. I can't stop to tell you that. You have to bet on a remote human interaction. You have to create that interpersonal relationship that you have at the branch online, either that being by video conference or being by something else, with a nice bot that actually understands you. You need to create that multi-device approach, and that's achieved not only by data and not only by studying those phygital journeys, but especially with also high emphasis on customer experience and UI. At the branch, well, you need to create a unique customer experience with the phygital spaces that get you out of the traditional banking approach that you knew. And there's a lot of great, cool examples out there. At this image, you're actually seeing a bank. It doesn't look like it, but it is a bank. You have to integrate that omnichannel experience and that journey. And the next time your consumer gets to a bank, it actually can use a meeting room, but at the same time access their online banking area, maybe use a social community space there and to connect to some partners, and quickly talk with the bank for an advice for an investment. And some banks are already doing that. That's why fintech and that area has been so advanced and so creative. The final result of this is that you have all this set of approaches, all this set of channels, all this technology that creates a way for you to better understand each individual, hyper-connected data to that individual. They know me, Bruno, not some Brunos in Amsterdam where I live. And you create for me immediacy. Whatever I want to do, I can get it now. I can get it in the next minute. I don't have to wait months for a decision or something to be decided in the next couple of days. I have an advice specialized just for me. And everything is really fast. I don't have to wait and to postpone some business because I have to wait that time. And of course, immersion. It doesn't matter what I use, I get immersed in those services, and they are really interesting for me. I really like this sentence that all interactions are powered by a hyper-connected data, powered also by multi-platform accesses, resulting in this intelligent context and aware conversations that I have with the bank, and not just me in some siloed part of an app that was constructed by a persona, by someone developing it. Yeah, that's all nice, right? I've been talking here for a couple of minutes, but how does it look like? Let me show you some examples. In Italy, Banca, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, has created this kind of branch where you can actually use your phone to get some things answered. They have established a network of 50 branches where they're in highly traffic areas, so you can stop your car in a couple of minutes. You can do whatever you need. You can stop by and have a meeting, and you can do. You have some help from the colleagues at the bank, of course, some human interaction, but most of the things are actually combined within a nice combination between humans and digital technology. The video I'm showing is available online. You see a counter over there. In about 5 minutes, the person takes care of everything they needed to take with the help of his phone and not needing to wait. In Barcelona, the CaixaBank has an impressive Imagine Cafe where not only being a bank, it creates areas for creativity where you can have meetings, where you can engage with music, technology, you can have events, exhibition spaces, and it's interesting. It's supposed to be a bank, but you actually have the whole set around it that helps you out. Then the entire complex, well, doesn't get more than 250 people, but it is an impressive complex. Virgin Money is one of the most cool ones, I usually say. You have a bowling alley that is actually a bank. You sit down, just like in an airplane, where you can get your iPad or iMac and work. Cafe, of course, you can take a coffee and talk with your branch advisor. There's free Wi-Fi, newspapers, magazines, so on and so forth. And Virgin Money keeps innovating. I've heard about, not with Virgin, but I heard about the branch of the bank actually being in high-speed trains all over Europe, so that you can actually take care of your banking stuff while you're actually taking the train between two cities, which is pretty interesting. And this is to give you the idea that although you're not at the branch at the typical traditional approach, you can actually do things in a seamless way. And again, it's all about advice, closeness to your bank and to your advisor. Amazon. Why I'm bringing Amazon and fintech? That's very close related. So Amazon is transforming the whole shopping experience with intelligent supermarkets. There's a couple of initiatives. I know that in Portugal there's a couple of initiatives also around that. And what's interesting is that Amazon is bringing, of course, that whole knowledge that they have about consumers, that hyper-connected knowledge on the consumers that they have online, that most of you know from Amazon.com, into the grocery experience. And I think that's really disruptive, and that will push the whole market. So, finishing up, how do we go Phygital? Well, first, in your mindset, it's not easy. You need to be agile. You need to people in the bank, people over at the fintech on your organization need to really rethink the whole way of how to do your services, how to do your business model, because it's not the traditional digital or physical way. Oh, it jumped. Build your data model around it. You have to have a nice cloud infrastructure to support it. Execute, create, and practice those Phygital journeys. Go cognitive. You have to create via AI, via machine learning, via modeling. You have to create a system that responds to each consumer in a hyper-connected way. And of course, last but not least, connect to the best in the market. Explore the market, create a nice way with your partners that you can maybe get the best of a certain part of your business model with those partners. Thank you so much. I think that's all from my side. I'll wait for questions, and if you need anything, just feel free to reach out in any of the digital channels available. Okay, and that's all. Any questions? Let me take a look here if colleagues drop by any question. I don't think so. Okay, cool. Hope you guys liked it. Have a great day. And well, keep up with the campus party. It's been an impressive event. Hope to see you in the next in the next speakings.